Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome back to Coming to Resolution. Today, I wanted to talk about fear. Fear is a bit of a complicated emotion. It's a little complicated. But I think it can go one of two ways depending on how you let fear affect you. Now, I am a really big advocate for using emotions as tools, and that does include fear. However, those are only in specific situations. I have recently, past couple of months, been trying to live a little more fearlessly. Now, that's not to say that I am free of anxiety or free of fear completely, but I don't allow fear to affect my decisions anymore. Cheers to you. I don't allow fear to hold me back because I have done that for almost 26 years, and it's just not worth it to me. I about talked myself from moving out of state whenever I was still back home. And to be honest with you, I'm glad I did it for the simple fact that I went and experienced something, and I learned new things about myself and what I'm capable of doing. So that's an example of how I almost let fear hold me back. If I had stayed at home in my home state, if I had stayed there, I would probably be way worse off. To be honest with you, I probably would be. In terms of the mental health, the financial situation I'm in, I mean, everything. To be honest with you, I probably wouldn't be doing this if I didn't move out of state. And I almost talked myself out of it. I almost let fear hold me back from doing what I thought would be good for me to do. Now, there are definitely certain aspects of the decision I made to get out of Texas that I am not a fan of, and I will be going closer to home here very soon. But I'm really glad that I did it anyway. I didn't give myself a choice but to figure it out and do it on my own. And I figured out that I can do anything. That I think that kind of thing applies for everybody. If you, especially if you're an anxious kind of person and you think of every possible thing that could go wrong, and because of that you think it will go wrong, I think it's really important to be able to differentiate between what can go wrong and what will go wrong, because Murphy's Law does not always apply. Like, honestly, hardly ever. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. That has not been the case most of the time. I don't allow fear to hold me back anymore. I don't allow fear to keep me stuck in the same mindsets anymore. I don't allow fear to affect my relationship. I don't allow fear to affect my friends, I don't allow fear to affect my life anymore. I have I have been through a lot of things, and because of those things, I there was a certain time where I did live in fear. Everything that I did was did or didn't do was out of fear. I was in a constant state of fight or flight, and it was always, I'm being fearful of this, and I'm afraid of this happening, and I'm afraid of not being able to do this. And like, I'm just not down for that anymore. And I feel like anybody can take something from that, because if somebody like me can do it, then I think you can do it too. Because fear should not be something that holds us back. Something that relates to that for me is stressing about things you can't control. And that does include relationships and how people are going to see you, and how people are going to judge you or affect you, or anything that can affect you outside of you, right? Because truly the only thing you can control is you. And I have been a really big fan of that mindset. It has honestly started to serve me well. I have stressed about things that I would absolutely have no hope over controlling. And certain events happening, certain events not happening, whatever. And it stressed me the fuck out. I mean, like, really stressed me the fuck out. So much so that I would begin to have nightmares about this situation, or multiple situations even. I would try to go to sleep and I would get vivid images of things that I didn't want to see, because I was afraid of those things happening. But to be honest with you, those things that I didn't want to happen aren't in my control. There's no point in stressing over things that I can't control. So I'm a really big fan of the fuck it attitude when it comes to a lot of things. People are always going to come and go. Relationships are going to change. Relationships are going to end. New ones are going to start. It's just how life goes. The people who stay are the ones who are meant to be in your life. And I don't have the energy anymore to stress over that stuff, especially as hard as I was stressing over a lot of things. When you are allowing yourself to be afraid of something happening so intensely that you are having nightmares and you can't get it out of your mind, it becomes a major fucking problem. Major problem. It's one of those things where even if it doesn't quite seem like it's affecting certain aspects of your life, it almost affects every aspect of your life. Everything. Your work ethic, your ability to see your self-worth, I mean, anything. And I got really tired of that. I got really fucking tired of stressing over things that I knew I had no control over. So as simple as this sounds, it wasn't simple. I just stopped doing it. I stopped allowing myself to just stress over things and be afraid that this or that might happen, or this or that may not happen. The way that I see it is, if things are going to happen, then it's going to happen. If things aren't going to happen, then they're not going to happen. Almost like if it's meant to be, it'll be kind of thing. And since then, I'll be honest with you, a major weight has been taken off of my shoulders. I'm not gonna lie, I have to remind myself that I don't need to stress over things that I don't have any control over or have any say in, because I'm an anxious person. I may not ever seem like it on the outside, but I am an anxious motherfucker. And I will I will be afraid of this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third may not even be on the fucking table. You know what I mean? I'll be anxiously overthinking things that doesn't mean anything, and it just drives me nuts. So I don't do it anymore. You know, I know what I can control and I can control me. And as long as I'm doing a good job of that and I'm controlling my reaction to things and I'm controlling how I respond to situations and I'm controlling my own peace, I think I'm doing okay. Truthfully, that has taken me further mentally than I think it ever will, stressing about things that I have no say in, or just simply being afraid to do things or not do things. So I don't do that anymore. And I think that's important to note for your own mental, maybe not mental health, but your own self-image. I think it's really important. Mental health too, fuck it, you know? Um, because that can anxiety relates to fear. If you're anxious about something, you're kind of afraid of something, or maybe you're really afraid of something. There's a big fucking range there. If you're not allowing yourself, as hard as it can be, to be afraid and be anxious of things that you have no say in, you will honestly be a whole lot calmer just in day-to-day life. Recently, if I am afraid of something, I quickly remind myself, like, there's no fucking point of being afraid. It's either gonna happen or it isn't. And I have no say. The things that I have control over are what I do. I have control over how I feel, and if I'm going to choose to be happy that day or if I'm going to choose to be anxious and miserable. I would rather choose to be happy and have a hard moment and have to remind myself, hey, this isn't worth being anxious over, as opposed to allowing that to affect my life so much where I'm having fucking nightmares. So, we don't do that anymore. And I hope that that's something that you can take into your own life, because that is a very common thing, I feel like, is people are afraid to do things and people are afraid of certain things happening or not happening even. And it's usually stuff out of their control. And while I understand where the fear comes from and I've dealt with it for a very long time, there's no point in doing it. Truly, where is that fear going to take you? You know what I mean? Where is the stress and the constant adrenaline, almost? Heart's beating real fast, your body's shaking, you're tensed up in places you didn't even know could tense up. That's not worth my life. That anxiety, that fear, it's not worth my life. So we don't do it anymore. And I hope that that's something that you can use for yourself, and maybe it'll help you heal from something, or maybe it'll help you complete a goal, or maybe it'll even just help you do something that you were afraid to do, like moving somewhere, or, you know, starting a business, maybe doing something creative, whatever you're into. Being afraid to do things only takes you so far. And the only time that I can personally see using fear as a tool is whenever you're in life-threatening situations. And generally, most of the time, when we are anxious and afraid of things that are out of our control, it is not life-threatening situations. It is just situations that we know is going to hurt if it's going to be something that happens. So, I hope that's something you can use. I will see you in the next one.